Well, hey there, fellers. Welcome back. Y'all come for more of this here story? Stuff's getting real weird. I don't want to hold you up, so let's just jump right in tonight. Thank you, Kevin.
Hello and thank you. Somebody buy that boy a drink. He's working for free. And it hardly shows. Thank you very much to everybody for showing up and all my players. I say this knowing full well he can mute me at any moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for showing up. It's Tuesday night. That means it must be time for Deadlands. Just as a tiny change of pace, we're going from dark and dreary to dark and dreary because that's kind of where we live here. So, with no further ado, and starting right next to me over here, the people that make this possible, the storytellers that are doing this with me, starting with the Noctum Sky, who's playing Jet, and Hannah, who's playing Ellie. The far end, Lucius, played by Lessimax. And we keep her by herself because she's not real good with others. Alice, played by Sarah. When last we left our happy little group, they were neither a group nor were they particularly happy. The day started off okay. It started off as a basic wolf hunt. But then these wolves turned out to be a little brighter than your average wolves. They set ambushes, they played with you, and eventually they led you all the way back to the mine, the end of the line, where they attacked. And things weren't going very well for our party, our posse, our little group. And at that time, it seemed like it got worse because Jet made what seemed like an excellent tactical decision. And he backed into a cave where nothing could approach him from behind, and he let loose with his revolving shotgun. And a horrible, horrible thing happened. And the shotgun blew up. And 2 wolves died. And Jet died. Except he kind of didn't. At the same time, the rest of these wolves were blasted out of existence. You probably had them. It was probably going to be okay. But they were destroyed in front of your very eyes, some of them running off into the trees and being destroyed there by a flash of a dark blue light that happened outside the cave at the same time that whatever the hell happened inside that cave to Jet happened. However, at the end of it, the wolves were gone. You gathered their tails as proof of their existence. You pulled a completely unharmed Jet out of this cave-in and made your way back to town, where Alice started investigating and experimenting with ghosts, using ghost steel for daguerreotype plates for photography, and has made the first, with the help of Dan Comfort, the local newspaperman, has made the first steps towards those experiments. Lucius has he's done a couple of things. He's designed the world's only folding coffin, which is interesting. Yet to build it, but he has designed it. And then right at the end of last week, he designed an upgrade to make his shovel a more effective weapon. But somehow in the process, he stirred some memories, and after falling asleep after that blueprint design, he had what can only be described as, well, by him, a prophetic dream of his own upcoming demise. Ellie just wanted to go to the bar and talk to the bartender and talk to the bouncer and see what they knew, but she couldn't leave Jet by himself, so she accompanied him to the doctor's office, where Dr. Harlow pronounced him healthy, hale, and fit, and was not quite as surprised as you might think that you told her that you'd been basically dead and brought back. Just as you guys walked out of that door, Alice is down the street with Mr. Comfort, writing tomorrow's newspaper story, actually, at the moment, while waiting for the daguerreotype plates to be made. Lucius is asleep with his head down on the counter in his room, right in the middle of the blueprint he's just designed. And Jet and Ellie have just stepped out of the doctor's office into the street. It's just after evening meal. And you can see the two of you that are outside, Jet and Ellie, as you step down into this dirty, dusty street. The worst of the heat is gone out of the day now. The sun is just about to set. It's very low on this incredibly distant horizon because it's so flat here. And it's below this layer of clouds. And it's storm clouds. It looks like all the cotton wool in the world piled on top of a black plate. The bottom is so flat. If Miss Alice saw it, she'd tell you that the picture had a fault in the photographic material. That just looks like it's cut off and completely black underneath. You can see that mist coming down from the bottom of it that shows that there's a pouring rain in the distance. Three of you awake and one of you asleep here. Like that. What would you like to do?
I might head to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
If you're all right, Jet. You're muted, Jet.
Yep. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm probably gonna go talk to the sheriff, and then I might come hang out at the bar for the evening if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's about to come a storm, Alice is gonna stay put and so that she doesn't get halfway across town and get her dress wet before she gets to her room.
Fair enough.
Who's still asleep?
Let's just do that.
You've
fallen face down on your blueprints after finishing this amazing plan that you have for your shovel scythe. So yes, you're just in the middle of that dark dream where that giant figure is walking across a state 2 steps at a time, and you hear that. To you, it sounds like his footsteps. Alice, you're busy typing away and doing typesetting, and you hear it, and you look up through the window and see the dark storm coming. So you stay put.
Yeah, she kind of looks at Dan and she's like, well, that does not look good.
No, ma'am. They at least you see him coming here. At least you can see him coming all the way from the horizon. That one's be here about midnight.
Wow, that is you've gotten pretty good, I guess, at estimating that.
I do the weather column as well as everything else, ma'am.
Looks like you're gonna have something for tomorrow.
I need a bigger paper, ma'am.
Alice just laughs and just kind of goes back to writing. And
So Ellie's going down there to the bar. Let's go there. Jet, you said you're heading to the sheriff's
marshal's
office?
office. Yeah. Is he the marshal or the sheriff? I'm sorry.
Let's call him the marshal, because that's what I wrote down. Yeah.
All right.
I know
Reasoning.
it's confusing because I'm the marshal too, but
so many marshals.
Too
I
many
think people
marshals.
behave better. Marshal. Game reference. All right, so at the pub, at the bar, you get back to the end of the line saloon at the end of the line, and you walk back in, and the bartender who you met the other night is behind the bar pulling beers as fast as he can out of the taps, and the bouncer's by the door, and he looks down at you. He's a big fella, and he says, you come back to work tonight?
Sir?
I'll go talk to Ted, but We heard you guys did some hunting.
Of the sorts, yes.
Don't take this the wrong way, but are you a server or are you I don't even know what to call it.
I'm myself. Never claimed to be anything else.
I can work with that. Yeah, Ted's over at the bar. I'm sure he could help you.
Thank you very much.
And you make your way up to the bar, and yeah, there's Ted, who you now know his name because you didn't ask last time.
I thought his name was like Ronald.
Was it? I may have said no. Ronald is the bouncer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I very carefully wrote this down because those names were new to me too when you walked in. So, so yeah, Ted is the barman, and he's behind the bar and looks at you, smiles and nods. Not real busy yet, but soon enough.
Figure you might want a hand before you're overwhelmed.
True enough, preparation and all that.
Same as before, $2 an hour. Keep my tips.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds like I don't know how busy it's going to be tonight. It sounds like a hell of a storm coming in.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad one.
They're all
Do you guys
bad
get
around
storms
here.
like this often?
We get lots of storms. Do you ever get the feeling? No, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just a storm, but it just seemed. Yeah, it's a little early in the season. It's only spring, but he seems nervous.
This is unseasonal then.
To say the least.
Well, drinks can't serve themselves.
Yeah, and he starts pulling. He's pointing at tables, and the process goes on as usual. Was there anything, any specific information you were trying to get out of people, or?
Yes. I remember Alice wanted me to ask people if anyone else had seen the glowing tracks.
Perfect. So yeah, you ask a couple of the customers, and they're kind of, just bring me drinks, just bring me drinks. And then Ronald says to you, glowing tracks, like those ones? And he points out the door. They're right there, right?
Yeah, at the top of the mine. I'm not the most superstitious person, but I don't exactly have an explanation for it either.
You mean like they got hot and glowed like red, or?
Blue. You ever heard of
Blue?
such a thing?
No. And he's kind of looking outside, like looking at the tracks, looking worried. Sounds like magic to me. Don't like it much.
I don't really believe in magic. But again, I don't really have an explanation either. I was hoping someone here might.
Well, if you don't believe, miss, you should go over and talk to Charlie in the corner there.
I'm
turn up-
guessing he does?
He does a little more than believe, ma'am. Sorry, miss. Calls you miss.
Thanks for the tip.
You notice this guy has spent the night. People are bringing him drinks. Like he's sitting at a table, and he's got a little black suit on with his white shirt and his little string tie. The little almost like the Colonel Sanders tie, almost, but even thinner. And he's got greasy black hair, and he's sitting there with a deck of cards, and people are coming up to the table with drinks, and they put the drink on the table, and he's doing card tricks for them. And then he takes the drink and drains it like a pro and puts it on the edge of the counter, and they take it away. They're paying for card tricks with drinks.
Okay, I guess I'll approach him then. And just ask, you being treated well here, I see?
And he picks up the cards and starts doing a fancy riffle shuffle with them and says, "Oh yes, ma'am, very, very well. They're treating me very well here."
I'm glad to hear. I always want to make sure everyone has as good a time as possible.
And he fans the cards out like they do, with them all face down. And he says, "Pick a card, miss. Any card, no charge."
All right, I'll pick one.
And pick it and lift it up, and it's a face card. You notice right away. For a second, it looks like a queen. But it says P in the corner instead of Q. Then you look at the picture, and it's you. The hair's right. The clothes are right. He fans the cards back out again. He says, anywhere you like, miss, anywhere you like. Put it back in the deck anywhere you like.
I'll put it back.
The accent. Yeah, he slides it back in the deck and he shuffles them up and he puts them on the table and he says, ma'am, you think that was a trick, but it ain't really. And he takes one card out of the deck and does that thing where he puts it on the edge of the card and then across the table and they all turn over together like a big fan. And all of them are your face. All 52 cards say P in the corner and they're your face. He slides it back the other way, slides the card into the end, picks it up, lifts them up towards you and fans them out to show you. And it's ace to king, ace to king, ace to king, ace to king. The regular suits.
Where on earth did you buy cards like that?
Hoyle's Book of Games, ma'am. Hoyle's Book of Games. Any hex slinger will tell you. Hoyle's Book of Games. The secret to everything is in there.
So, would you happen to have any in your expertise? Would you happen to have heard of anything about glowing tracks? Glowing blue, mind you.
Blue. We don't like much things that glow blue. That's usually it's a different kind of magic.
Magic. What could cause magic like this?
And he takes the deck of cards in one hand and does that where he shoots them across the space and they hit his other palm. But as they hit, they turn into a bouquet of flowers. And he hands them to you and he says, not this kind, ma'am. Not me. That sounds more natural.
Have you ever heard anything about wolves or animals that just kind of dry up?
And he goes real serious. The rose or the flowers disappear, turn back into just a regular deck of cards, and he stops playing with them and he looks at you and he says, oh, you're talking about shaman magic, miss. Don't mess with that stuff.
To be honest, I want to know so I know not to.
That's people that, and people do odd things to gain their power, miss. I just read a book and practiced real hard, you know?
Have you ever heard of anything like that happening around here? Someone in this area that could be capable of something like that?
Miss, anywhere you find a population that lives mostly off the land, you will find magicians of that nature. Those of us from the city and the card deck across to the other hand again. We do a different sort of magic. Not so frightful.
I will definitely take the flowers over the drying up wolves. I'll give you that.
And with that, back to this hand, and there a bouquet again, and he hands it across to you.
Just kind of give him a very charming smile and take it.
As you take it, it turns into a card. Just a regular playing card, but on the front, it's got the J in the corner like Joker, but it's a picture of that bouquet of flowers on the card.
That's a lovely trick.
It's only so much I can do, miss.
One last thing. Have you ever heard of a raven so black it looks blue?
He goes pale. He says, ma'am, that's what I was talking about before. That's them.
What does a raven
Nature.
have to do with that?
I can't tell you that, miss, but I'll tell you there's an awful lot of them hanging around that doctor's place. They seem to go hand in hand with death, you know what I mean?
I think our undertaker said that once. Something about guiding souls. To be honest, I wasn't really paying attention. It wasn't really my type of conversation, but maybe I should have.
Undertakers and natural magic, miss, you hang with a strange group of people.
In the past few days, yes.
And he picks up his drink, and you can see his hand is physically shaking as he has a drink.
Well, I'm sorry for giving you a bit of a fright. How about the next one's on me?
And he kind of grins for a second, then he stops and says, that's not necessary, ma'am. I can assure you they are lined up to drink to pay me. And he looks behind you, and you turn around and look, and there's like 4 people waiting there impatiently with drinks in their hands.
Well, I'll leave you to it then. Thank you very much.
And he gives you this little bow where his confidence is back now, right? He's stopped talking about this stuff he doesn't like. He's back into his own world. And as you turn to walk away, he does the card flick again from one hand to the other, but this time it's like a trail of fireworks. Cards sort of disappear as they come out of one hand, and there's just this little row of sparkles, and then as each one hits the other hand, it just builds up the deck there. He puts them down in front of him and smiles as you leave.
All right, I guess I'll just go back to serving drinks.
My name's Charlie, miss, and you were?
Ellie. Name's
Nice
Ellie.
to meet you. Nice to meet you, Ellie.
Well, if you need anything, be sure to holler.
I'll be right here. And the next person's already sitting down, and he's kind of turned away and started to patter, like a good performer. Right? You go back to serving drinks. The rest of the evening, you find one other person who says, "Oh, I saw the rails glowing." His buddy just pushes and says, "You didn't see shit. We're so hammered." And an argument about whether they saw glowing rails or not, but you don't know what to make of that. But Ronald didn't, and he was right by the doors.
All right.
You walk, for the rest of the evening. But was there anything else specific?
No, if Jet comes in, I might chat with him, but...
Okay. So as you watch Ellie walk down the street towards the bar, the lightning and the thunder flash again. The storm looks a little closer. Looks very foreboding, especially after the day you've had. You walk into the sheriff's office, and he's sitting there with his feet up on the table.
Howdy, Marshal.
Evening, deputy.
Is there anybody else in at all, or just
You have a quick look, and the drunk tank's empty.
Marshal, I've had one hell of a day, and I
Kind
think
of looks you up and down, confusedly.
I think I need to sit down for this one. And I pull up a chair in front of the desk or whatever, and I pull out, again, just like with the doctor, I pull out the parts of the shotgun and sit them on the desk. And I'm just like, I fired that.
No, you didn't, son. You blew that thing up.
Yep.
You trying to tell me you were holding this when this happened?
Yes, sir.
Hold out your hand. And he reaches over and checks your pulse. And after a couple seconds, he lets go. You better tell me this story right from the beginning.
Sheriff, Marshal, we were looking for them wolves. We went up to that miners' camp, and something was odd from the very beginning. They were smarter than they should have been. They had tactics. They led us on. They tried to get around us, like weird stuff. They didn't look right, not natural. Long ways to the end. We got to the end of the line up there, and we were surrounded, and I backed into the mine, and I had 2 of them on either side, and I tried to fire off a shot, and everything was gone for a minute after that. I was in the cave. Everything was closed off. I was not. I didn't even tell the doctor this, but I was not. My hands were. I couldn't even. And I'm just kind of shaking at this point. I'm not quite.
Without a word, he just opens the bottom drawer and pulls that bottle out and just puts it on the table. Doesn't say a word, just puts it on the table right between the 2 of you.
Yeah. Is there a glass or is it just the bottle? Because I'll take
Just
it.
the bottle.
I
Yep.
just pop that and just take a swig of it and put it back down, and I'm just like, I was not alive, Marshall, or at least I was very close to not. I was gone, and then something happened, and now here I am, better than I've ever been. And you haven't known me long, but you know I'm not a man to lie. Something
This happened in the mine.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Tempted to blame it on the ghost rock. I mean, after what it did to the wolves, but that made him nastier. It made him impure. It sounds different than that.
Well, that's the thing. I was gone, but when I came out, when my friends came and got me out of there, we were surrounded, Marshall. Our guns weren't working right. Nothing in that scenario, we would not have lived, I don't believe, or it would have been real hard pressed to have. But when I came out, they were gone. Like they had just melted. Like,
sounds like something saved your ass, son.
And I pulled the feather out of my hat and I kind of show it to him, and I was like, this is all there's left, sir. And I don't know what to make of it. Doctor says I'm fine. I don't have scars I used to have. I'm better than I've ever been. Wounds are gone. I'm out of shotgun, but other than that, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Be damn careful, boy. People don't give gifts like that for free.
Right. I don't even know what. I don't even know.
I got the feeling you'll find out. Just a feather, huh?
Yeah. Just a feather.
Yeah, I don't like omens much, but black feathers, storm clouds. Mind staying here tonight, son? I think I might go home to my wife.
I can stay here, sir.
I don't think I'd tell too many people about this. And he points to the blown-up shotgun on the table. Some folks don't, some folks won't. Some folks will worry, son.
I'm not gonna lie, sir. It's got me a little worried myself. But
As it damn well should. Be careful, boy.
yes, sir.
And he looks at the bottle and he looks at you and he says, if that's empty in the morning, I don't mind. And he gets up. Anything else?
You know where I can find another one of these in town? And I kind of gesture to the busted up gun on the table.
Right back on the same horse. I see. Yeah, in the morning. In the morning, you go see the, go to the store. They got them at Merritt's Mercantile.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And he puts his hand on your shoulder and gives it a good squeeze. He says, I mean it, son. Be careful. You owe somebody something now.
I guess maybe. I didn't. Whew.
And he walks out, looking pointedly at the bottle as he leaves. Quickly back to Ellie. One other thing happens in the course of the evening that I forgot. Quite late in the evening, sort of like half an hour before the storm's going to get here, so sort of 11:30, which is late in a town that wakes up at dawn. In the hustle and bustle, you hear a sort of a quietness, of which you know from all your years of experience means somebody who doesn't belong has walked in. And you turn and look, and it's Alan Campbell, the guy that hired you to protect him and his prospectors when he went up the hill. This is the nephew of the man who built this insane railway, Milton himself. And you haven't seen him since you came back to town and the documents were challenged and they were shipped off. And you see this time he looks the same, but a couple things are different. He's got a huge black eye and his nose is all askew. He has recently, like within the last couple of hours, had somebody punch him vigorously in the side of his face. He had that fancy cane before, the black cane with the big fancy sort of silver eagle's head on it. It was an affectation before. He is now using it as a cane. He's actually limping as he walks in. And he sees you and hobbles over. May I have a word with your friends and yourself in the morning?
Does the other guy look better?
The four of them, there's not a mark on any of them.
I'll let everyone know.
Thank you.
Just maybe an hour after dawn? Maybe
Wonderful.
two.
Thank you.
I'm working late.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to bed now, but yes, if you could in the morning, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And he hobbles off.
I'm gonna turn to Ted. Is he from around here?
That fella's from back east. Way back east. Like England back east.
Interesting that his family would be building around here if he's originally from England. Bit of a out of nowhere place.
Well, the last 100 years, we're kind of all from England or somewhere.
I suppose.
Yeah, his uncle was nuts. And I'm saying that in this town.
This town doesn't seem so bad. Normally when I work a shift, I can't keep guys away from me, but I haven't been hit on once.
To be honest, you can thank Ronald for that.
Well, I greatly do.
He's had a word with the folks in here that are getting a little handsy. You might have noticed he's a big boy and they listen to him.
Well, I know we may have caused a bit of issue with some throwing blades last time we met with Alan, but you don't mind if we meet with him in here tomorrow, do you?
As long as you buy drinks, I don't mind at all.
Sounds fair deal to me.
Besides, where the hell else am I going to sell the rest of this absinthe? And it's apparently what Alan drinks.
Of course it is. It's gross and expensive.
Exactly. Aristocratic in the extreme. Now, let's quickly cut back to... let's go to Alice. You finish up the evening story. You look out. You've got time yet to get back to the hotel before it rains. But
Have the pictures done developing?
the regular pictures are. You guys didn't get any ghost. Well, you got the samples, but you haven't actually taken any prints yet. You're waiting. Yeah. Speaking of which, all that stuff should be done tomorrow. Everything you asked from the blacksmith should be done tomorrow.
Okay.
For narrative reasons.
Right.
We role play sitting around for 3 days waiting for the blacksmith to do her job.
Yeah. Alice is kind of so as far as she knew, she didn't. Jet was probably going to go talk to the sheriff. Ellie was going to go to the bar.
Yep.
Lucius is going to do whatever in the world he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
She actually wants to go see if this bar has any wine.
So yeah, okay. You finish that up. Dan says to you, "I got the rest of this. I'm just typesetting and putting in the pictures. This is going to be. I wish there was more people to sell this to. There's only so many people in this town, but they're all going to want one of these. This is amazing." And he's really pumped and excited.
Well, of course we can send this out again.
We can send it out. I can telegraph bits and pieces of it.
Mm-hmm. Make sure we do that.
Oh, Miss Alice, you are something special.
Yes, I know.
And you look at the work that the two of you have done in the course of like the last, by this time, 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The two of you put together a whole bloody 12-page newspaper. And you're good. I mean, you're Alice. You're good.
Yeah.
But that's world class sort of newspaper putting together
Yeah.
with the two of you. And he's just like I said, he's just finishing up. He's putting in the pictures and he's setting the last of the set the type as you're leaving. So have a great night. See you tomorrow, mate.
Alice, as she's kind of having this realization, she's kind of sad for a moment because she's thinking about how sad his life's going to be when she leaves.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. I love it.
So she's kind
Oh, that poor man. He's going to miss me.
this is the newspaper wise. This is the most excitement he's had. So he's gonna really miss her. But she wants to go, since if she has enough time, she wants to go have like a glass of wine and then go back to her room.
Absolutely. You get in there, you see Ellie working tables. We'll assume this you had the encounters before and after this. But yeah, you walk in, she's and this is the first time you've actually seen her at work, and she is clearly a pro. Like she's got the tray with the dozen on it, and she's taking them off, and like 3 at this table and 2 at that table, and being charming and wonderful and good at her job.
Right.
And you cruise in and see that. So as low class as her job is, she's incredibly good at it.
I'll give her, like, if I catch her attention when I walk in, I'll give her a sort of like a nod, like just a coy little wave and a nod, and then find a seat somewhere, not quite in the middle of everything, but kind of off to the side where everyone can see her.
Sure.
Like
And Ellie, you would have
where-
noticed on the way in, there was another one of those pauses, the same one as before, like somebody that doesn't belong is here. And you turn around and see Miss Alice swoosh in and present herself to the room and then sit at a table and prepare to be worshipped.
Yeah.
After giving you a little nod and a finger wave.
Mhm.
I'll go up to her. What can I help you with, Miss Alice?
Does this establishment have any good wine?
As far as I've seen back there, we do. I would imagine woman of your stature, you'd want the priciest we have.
Yes, red, if you've got it.
We'll be right back, Miss Alice.
And by the time you get to the counter, you can see Ted has got a case underneath open, and he's looking at a shelf. What is
Priciest wine, red.
big grin, and he pulls out a very dusty bottle of red wine, and very gently sets it on the counter and closes these doors. And you can see there's actually a little bit of sediment at the bottom of this wine, and the label's in French, and it's handwritten.
I mean, I doubt she cares, but what's the price of it so I can at least let her know?
And the grin just like his face almost comes apart, and he says, "That's $120 a bottle."
I imagine his voice cracks like that too.
Oh, he did the snicker, the whole thing. You get the impression he probably bought it from the same guy he bought the absinthe from, and he's been waiting to get rid of it. But yeah, you look, and it's like a 8 or 9 year old red wine. Like it's a handwritten label from, it's a Pinot signed by the vintner. This dust isn't from his drawer. This dust is from it being in a cellar for 7 years.
Oh, that's some good wine.
And he pops one very thin, tall glass next to it.
All right, I will bring them over. And I tell Ellie, I'm Ellie. I tell Alice the price.
And she'll just, like, it's like only that. What was it, 120?
Yep, $120 a bottle.
Only $120. Oh my, this is my day. And she'll just pull it out and
20s, which is like the equivalent of $1,000 bills today.
She throws her 140 and tells her to, keep the difference.
appreciate your generosity, Miss Alice. If you need anything else, just let me know.
Of course.
And you whip out your corkscrew and let her sniff it. And Miss Alice, do you know anything about wine?
Alice would.
Okay.
I
In that
don't.
case, yeah, she presents you with the cork, and you give it a sniff, and it smells exactly like it should. Very oaky, very soft. Thank you. Very aged. It smells incredible.
Good.
So good that it makes you have to resist the urge to make the happy face.
Yeah, and of course, she'll do the, she'll.
And she, being she does the from the left, pours the
Mhm.
tiny bit in the bottom of the glass, and you do this.
Yeah, I do
guys
the,
take the whole rigmarole. It is worth, from an onophile's point of view, it is worth every penny of the $120, and that's for 3 glasses worth.
Yeah,
It's not a big bottle.
yeah. She'll have 1 glass now, and she will ask, can you set the rest of the bottle aside for the next time I come in?
Of course, Miss Alice would be happy to.
And you go around the back of the thing, you use your thumb to put the cork back in, back behind the counter.
I'll let Ted know, just like, no one touch it.
Nobody's gonna touch that. Oh, this is
Suppose
my
that was
lucky day. An absinthe for breakfast tomorrow. That's on you too. Oh, here, and he hands you an extra 10 for the night.
Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it.
Anything else the two of you want to do this evening?
No, I'm kind of want to position myself to where I can just watch this guy with the cards.
Okay.
Like kind of to where like I can just watch from afar and without, I mean, obviously Alice can't not be noticed because she's Alice, but like, without it being too glaringly obvious that that's what I'm trying to do.
Let's see. Okay. You managed you keep an eye on him over the course of the next little while. And I mean, at a distance, it's hard to tell. It looks like he's doing sleight of hand. It looks like card tricks. But these people are amazed at what he's doing. Having said that, they're drunk and they're rural and they're probably not educated, but they are damned impressed with whatever he's doing over there in the corner. And they keep bringing him drinks. Just in a very short period of time, Ellie would be able to help you on this overall. He's down on a drink about every 10 minutes and is showing no signs of being drunk at all. Ellie, he's been drinking like that for 4 hours.
I'm gonna ask Ted about him. What do you know about Charlie? He seems like a nice fellow, but does he have a stomach or just a pump?
He's better than that. He's got a puka.
A puka?
Oh, you're not Irish?
Afraid not.
No, it's sounds so stupid. You know leprechauns, little people, funny hat.
I've heard of them.
Gold. Yeah, kind of like that, but without the pot of gold. It's more like a liver for liquor. They find a person and they kind of attach to them, and no matter how much that person drinks, the puka just takes it. That poor bastard can never get drunk over there. Ever.
Jet's face right now.
You're mute, man.
The fact that you're
I didn't want
muted.
them to hear me while I'm over here like, what?
Here's the freaky part. It's based on a real thing. Well, a real.
I thought he just had one of those hip necklaces with the shell.
Oh, that was funny.
You're telling me he has some magical creature attached to him that drinks his alcohol for him?
Yep. Never gets to his belly. That's what he does for a living when he's not doing card tricks. He drinks people under the table. Little fella like that, nobody think he can do it.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I told you this town's weird, miss.
Has he always lived here?
He's been here. Shit. He's been here since the night I opened. And I never seen him before that. 7 years. 7 years open this. When he first started building that damn fool railway out front.
What does he do here in town?
What he's doing right now, miss.
He can
Drinking.
make a living off that.
He does the drinking, and then he does the drinking contests. He seems to do all right.
Clearly. More than all right if his fan club is anything to go by.
Yeah, and you look over and they're lined up 3 deep. You can't imagine like how many tricks has this guy got? They're just lining up over and over and over again to see him.
Alexander, hey Ellie,
Yes, Miss Alice?
that man over there.
Charlie.
Favor,
Of course.
could you ask him if the name Chessie means anything to him?
Jesse?
Chessie.
Chessie. Sure. I can. Anything else?
No.
Okay. I'll go over and when he has a in between
Yep.
people in line. Hey Charlie, hate to disturb you again, but that nice lady over there, gesture to Alice, she was wondering if the name Chessie means anything to you.
And he looks kind of around as you're gesturing. I don't think she's that nice a lady. But what was the question?
Chessie. Does the name Chessie mean anything to you?
Well, I knew a gal used to take off her clothes for a living called Chesty. And he's just gone, like he's lost in memory. Performance from a long time ago. No, sorry, man.
Thank you, Charlie. And I'll go over and
Ellie, ever
Just
the
tell- just tell him, Alice, that no, he hadn't heard the name before.
Okay. Alice will just say, curious.
May I ask who Chessie is?
Well, Chessie was a childhood friend of mine growing up. He was a bit odd, but he was born and raised up until about 4 or 5 in England. And then he moved into the house next door. Well, next door, by next door, I mean about 2 or 3 acres up, because obviously our land is so massive that next door really isn't next door. But
Of course.
he moved into the neighboring house, and he was always doing some kind of card tricks. And I tell you what, he had the most memorable smile I think I've ever seen. And then she just kind of like stares off into the distance, like remembering.
Yeah, boys like that are always... They're quite remarkable at that age. What happened to Chessie?
Well, I don't rightly know. He just sort of was gone one day. That was about a year ago.
I'm sorry to hear, Miss Alice.
Yeah. And then she's obviously she's trying to like hide any sense of emotion, and so she by this point has very just one little sip of her wine left, and she takes the final sip and sits the glass down and throws another $5 on the table, and then gets up and leaves and goes to her hotel room.
Well, I pocket the $5 and go back to work then.
Yeah, if nothing else, she might be a bit of a pain, but Miss Alice tips well.
Heck, I've just made $25 off of her, and because I got her to order expensive wine, I got an extra 10 from Ted, and that's not including the rest of the night. It's like
You've been
twice the
paid
amount
yet.
I made last time.
and no tips, and you're up double. Yeah.
She was raised right.
That's how you know it's a fantasy campaign. Everybody tips well.
Ain't that the truth?
Oh,
As an actual server in real life.
service humor drifts
Yep,
into the
as
game.
a former server. Yep.
As a current
Hang on a
server.
second. I was gonna say, hang on. Are all 4 of you?
Yeah.
Oh, this is magnificent.
Yeah, I'm a server.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not anymore. I did for a while though.
Well, guess what's getting written into this campaign over the next week.
Oh, no.
Anyway, Miss Alice, you start making your way back through the gathering storm. You look now. Have you ever been on the prairies in a storm? You can see it walking across the desert towards you. It's gray coming down from the sky, the rain. The sun is just gone down and just left a little blue hint on the horizon. And where the rain is pounding the ground, there's a thin brown line. You can tell it's dust getting kicked up from the intensity of this pounding rain as it approaches the city.
Is there
It's
lightning? Is it like consistent
constant,
lightning?
back and forth in the clouds, from the clouds to the ground through the rain.
Well, Alice is gonna obviously stop and take a picture of that.
Go ahead and give me a photography roll.
Well, as soon as I can find the page with all the stuff on it, there we go.
And while you're doing that, Lucius, face down these footsteps. It's time lapse, right? You can hold that shutter open as long as you want. You catch about 4 flashes across the sky, all in one photograph, and it's one of those ones where it looks like it's all happening at once.
Mhm.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Tap the camera.
Well, everything she does.
Well, of course, but this is amazing even for her.
Wow.
Lucius, face down on the table, this booming sound of these footsteps crashing across the desert. You see landing, and every time they do, there's a cloud of dust. And then it's so far away, it takes time for the sound to get to you. Flashes of light off the gold and silver pistols projecting out of this apparition's waist from the guns. This soft tin glow of a sheriff's badge glowing with an even softer silver light. And you can feel in his pocket, just pulsing, a wanted poster. A man in a top hat and a long, well-built suit and a ponytail all the way down his back and little dark glasses. Wanted. Dead or alive. Dead or alive. Dead or alive. That's the footsteps now. Every time a footstep lands, the left foot lands dead. Right foot lands alive. Dead. Alive. It's across Nevada now. It's only 2 states away. And it's too loud. It can't be. He must be here. Snap awake and look down, and there's your face outlined in sweat on this blueprint of this 3-stage extending scythe that's based on your shovel.
It's coming. It's coming. I wake up Elvis in a panic. Just sweating.
Just that cold sweat thing. It's still pouring off of you like the nightmare hasn't stopped. You realize now that the thunder is what you were hearing. You realize the lightning is what you were seeing somehow reflected inside your head. So maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was just a dream.
I'm like, why now? Why now? Why now? No. Okay. I look at my blueprint and just try to fix it up a little bit if I can.
Distract yourself, and eventually the tension leaves your body as much as it's going to.
I also, if I have a quick moment,
Shake, yeah.
if I have a quick moment, like with the 5 teeth, can I make it into a necklace?
Well, you can start. It's going to take some time because you
That's
have to drill through teeth, right? So you get your tinkering kit out and start making these holes in these teeth. Anything to distract yourself, right?
Pretty much. I'm probably going to be tinkering a lot.
Yeah.
Pacing
So,
around.
yeah, you're sort of curled up in your chair doing this, working these teeth, and eventually that after that crash hits, that psychological crash after the terror, there's always the and you just crawl into bed and curl up and go to sleep. So at this point, you tell me what you dream.
What do I dream?
Yeah, after that, when you go back to sleep, what does Lucius see?
I hear a bang.
Church door slams open.
Yep.
And from the outside, a view you've never had before, you see 2 terrified men crash through the door and run off into the darkness. And from outside, you hear coming from inside your own raging voice. And you wake up again. With a slightly better understanding of how Jet feels. Speaking of Jet, you've been sitting there so patient, Sky. I'm watching you, enjoying everybody else's pain.
He's just happy to get a break.
Yeah, well, this is just all part of my magical overarching timing. I got 15 minutes to break him. Jet, you're at the sheriff's office. It's empty. There's nobody in here but you. No drunks tonight. The storm approaching. Not a mark on you. Blown up shotgun bits all over the table.
Yep. Are you wondering how I proceed?
Yep.
Well, I needed answers and I haven't gotten any. And something weird happened today, even for me. And I'm shook up about it and I'm scared, but it's also like there's like this adrenaline to it too, which is a weird thing. Plus it's raining and I've always found a little peace in the rain, especially, rain's a good thing.
You're up last, so you're the only one that's awake. Even Ellie is back to the hotel and asleep before the rain hits. It's about 2 a.m. You're still awake. And you feel and hear it pass. You ever been on the edge of a rainstorm? When it comes and just washes over you? It does that. And you're inside, but it feels not like you're physically outside, but that cleansing sensation, that fresh rain smell helps.
So yeah, I'm sitting there and I look at the bottle and I'll take one more swig out of it. And then I'm going to put that or whatever cork lid, whatever on it and put it back in the bottom of the drawer. And I'm just kind of like, all right. And I lay down with a purpose. Like I'm looking for answers. Like I'm going like head on into this because there's nowhere else to look.
You got it. You, for the first time in years, try to go to sleep. And you find out it's not easy. This is what most people struggle with. It's hard to go to sleep when you want to go to sleep. And that's just you just get lost in this swirl of I want to be asleep, I don't want to be asleep, I want to be asleep, I don't want to be asleep. And then this voice, this very clear female voice says, "You're asleep." And it's dark and black. And then you're back in Prescott, and you're much younger. And your baby brother's sitting on the floor, playing with his toys. And a little gecko across the floor, runs across the floor, and his little chubby little baby hand reaches out and grabs it and holds it up in front of him and just squishes it. And then there's just this jarring cutscene, and there's a teenage Bart, which is about the last time you saw him. And he's gutting a cat that he's killed just to see what's inside. And that same laughter. There's another cut. This is a middle-aged Bart. He's not this old yet. You're not this old yet. He's standing in the middle of a street with his left hand. He's got the back of a man's neck, and he's holding him face down in a water trough designed for horses in the middle of a street. And in his right hand, he's got his pistol, and he's waving it back and forth, holding off 3 people who are trying to get to him to make him stop drowning this man. That same laugh. And you see him as an old man. He's in a home with all these other old people. He's got a pillow over one of their faces, and his crotchety old arms are just shaking with the effort. And the laugh is almost gone. And it fades to black. And out of that black, white lines start to form a shape, a picture. The first thing you see is VII, Roman number 7. Then you see a female princess figure, just outlined in white. She stands arms extended, naked, but not sexually so, just naturally so. And above her in the sky are 7 stars. And with each hand, she holds back the darkness, which is squeezing in from both sides of what you now realize is a tarot card. The star. And that voice, that female voice that you've heard before says, the star. Hope, faith, rejuvenation. Keep your hope, Jet. Have faith. You, or rather we, can save him. Gone. And all you see, you wake up, and it's one of those, the image won't go. There's just this feather, and your hand sort of unconsciously reaches up and touches your hat. That same black feather. It's maybe 4 o'clock in the morning. You've slept maybe 2 hours.
That's a new record.
And as you sit up, 2 things. 1, we forgot to draw chips at the start of the night. My bad. Everybody please draw 3 chips and put them on your sheet. 2nd, let's take a break, shall we?
I
And just before we go, I want to say thank you to all of my players because you guys each spent 3/4 of that half of this show sitting around listening to somebody else's story. And you did it with a look of wonder and joy on your faces. And thank you all for that. The second part, I assure you, you will all be together.
Well, she's a rich girl, and she's going too far, but you know it don't matter anyway. She can get drunk on her old man's money. She can pay too much money for some shitty wine. I can't even address the jet shit. This is weird. It's a break. All right. Whew. Hopefully most of that storm's been a passing now. We can get back to this story that everybody's had such a nice, relaxing night's sleep. Let's see what's happening in paradise.
Welcome back. Here we are back in paradise. Just before we drop back in, I want to quickly mention something that we're doing as a channel here at the Mercs of Mischief on Twitch. It's September, as I'm sure most of you know, and that means great deals on subscriptions. But here's the deal. What we're going to do this month is all the subscription stuff that comes to us, we're going to be forwarding it directly to Extra Life. So that's going in the form of donations. Again, anything that comes to us in the subscription department is going straight to the fine folks at Extra Life. And let's use that money for something really useful while we just
children.
For the children, while the adults play games. And with that, let's go back down our rabbit hole into our very own poisoned paradise. We left the game about an hour before dawn. 3 of the 4 of you are asleep. The other one is sitting in the pre-dawn light, wondering whatever possessed him to try and go to sleep. Memories all round, thoughts all round. And with that, the rest of the night, unless you have anything planned to jet, the storm continues. It abates during the night, and you're the first one to notice because you're still awake. You look out the window, and it has localized. Really, really localized. It is hovering directly over the peak of the mountain at the end of Milton's Folly, at the top of the railway tracks, right where the mine is. There's not much lightning anymore, but what there is, every one of them is hitting the mountain. It used to be some from cloud to cloud. Now it's all hitting the peak of the mountain.
Weird.
So to watch that for a little bit, and right around sunrise, the sheriff comes in, kind of nods to you, walks around, pulls open the drawer, looks in, sees most of the bottle still there, gives you a bigger nod, a more respectful nod, closes the drawer, kicks his feet up on the desk, puts his hat over his eyes. Thanks very much, Deputy.
Sure, Marshal. And is anything open this early, or is this just like...
Just as you're walking out, the place is starting to wake up. You can hear the blacksmith. They're starting to set up the fire in the forge. You can hear the people at the livery getting the horses out for their morning exercise and things like that. The early risers are up, but the regular folks are just crawling out of bed at this point. Most of them aren't out in the streets. It's actually really quite quiet. Everything's been washed clean by the rain that went through in the night. But that storm is still just sitting there, just hanging there.
All right. I'm just gonna go, I guess, stand outside, or if they're open already, I'm gonna hang. I'm waiting at the mercantile, looking for my...
Okay. Do you want to go for breakfast first?
Oh yeah, I forgot breakfast is a thing. Yeah, I guess I should go. I guess I'll go try to eat something and see if the bar's got anything to eat.
So what I basically just did is got everybody back together. But right now we're over here at the hotel.
Oh, I went the wrong place.
It's all good. You're tired. So you guys are therefore gathered for breakfast. And I must, Ellie, do you tell them about your, yeah?
I let them know about Alan and him looking a bit worse for wear when I last saw him, and he said he wanted to meet us just after sunrise at the bar.
Yeah.
Did he say what for?
No. I was a little busy as well. I didn't really have too much time to ask, but I figure might as well see what he wants.
Alice kind of sits back and she says, "Yeah, I saw all that. You're pretty good at what you do, for what it is."
Well, some of us need to be very good at what we do in order to survive.
I'm just dismayed because I'm looking at you all and you all have a job and I still don't.
You tried.
Don't look so glum, partner. People die all the time.
Yeah, except that the local underkeeper is, I'd say, a bigger prick than Alan, actually.
That's possible?
Oh, what a rude man.
I mean, don't get me wrong here, fella, but I didn't think any of us were planning on staying here. But if you were, couldn't you just get a little plot of land? I mean, they got 2 bars in this town. I don't see why they couldn't have 2 undertakers. Just do the job better and you'll have more people.
I guess, competition, but it's just, I don't know. I just need to find something to do. I got a lot on my mind.
When I'm looking at him, do I recognize a little bit of this way he's acting, this look?
The baggies under the eyes, the inability to focus, the light's a little too bright. Yeah, you're kind of an expert in the field. I'm not going to make your roll. He didn't sleep well last night. In fact, you look around the table and doesn't look like anybody slept real well last night.
Well, sounds like we either need to sleep in or we need to get to work, folks.
Alice will look at Lucius and, do you have any marketable skills other than dead people?
Well, I'm quite knowledgeable in certain things, and I actually do magic tricks.
You'd like
Well,
the
that's
guy
a
from
bunch
the
of
bar.
bull hockey.
I perk up a little bit at that.
This is where I sit back and let you guys play for a while.
In that case, I take my deck of cards out. So let's see.
Wait a minute now, fella. Now, you never mentioned anything of this. You can do magic.
Well, not exactly. It's more like the more run-of-your-mill, like, magicians, just card tricks and entertainers. Not like, would I know what hucksters are when they're full capacity?
Yep.
Yeah, so not like hucksters, just sleight of hand and illusions, more like, with a bit
Show
of
us a trick.
tinkering. Okay. I will do a simple card trick.
Just a straight. Yeah, give me a sleight of hand.
Give me a second. Where did I put my sheet? Right here.
I have a cheat sheet with all the skills on it, and I have left it somewhere.
Oh, good.
Please tell me I rolled good.
This is so-
That's a 7. It's not
You rolled okay.
bad. It's you guys watching. He does a counting card trick. It is clear to you that there's nothing magical about this trick. It's sleight of hand. It's done reasonably well, but it's nothing that the doubting Thomases amongst us couldn't just dismiss as go, oh, I know how we did that. Or if I don't, I know at least that it was a sleight of hand rather than magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my best trick. I actually use more of my tinkering to like create. I used to use tinkering a bit also to create certain tricks.
Well, it's
Alright.
better than anything I could do. You should have seen the guy at the bar last night, though. Charlie, he's incredible. He had people lining up to give him drinks just so that they would do card tricks for him. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I guess
About that, I just had a lightning strike here, and everything went black for about 3 seconds.
It's becoming real.
BJ.
Thank you, BJ.
Yay!
Yay.
Yeah.
You
When
said
I
the-
mentioned it, I'm gonna pull out the card that he gave me, the one with the flowers. This was a deck of cards, and then it was flowers, and now it is a card with flowers.
I guess that crosses the list of magician now. I can't compete with an actual huckster. Are you kidding?
Hey,
I'm
now.
not sure if anyone could compete with
Oh
him.
my god.
I don't know how he did it.
Alice kind of scoffs. Just like, I know
Maybe
somebody who could, but okay.
maybe I can assist the doctor. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to the doctor lady later. See if they need an assistant.
Yeah, I was gonna say you seem to. Well, no, you don't have much of a bedside manner, but you do the job. So maybe she's a little weird though. Real kind, but real cold.
We'll get along just fine, I'm sure.
Well, Marshall Kevin, how much did I make last night, by the way? I know I made at least $40 in tips.
That 40 plus 5 hours, it was $2 an hour, so that's another 10 plus another $5 in tips. So, yeah,
Sweet.
plenty. You made almost as much as Alice spent.
I see you counting your cash. I'm like, gotta find something soon.
I don't
And
think
with that, it comes to your collective attentions that Alan is probably fairly close to waiting for you over at the bar.
Well, shall we go see what our dear friend Alan would like?
If he pays well, why not?
Can agree with that. Unless he's rude. Then I might punch him.
Lucius is worried he's gonna go broke.
Sometimes a little reality in a game is a little bit of grit, a little bit of grist in the mill. And with that, you guys finish your breakfasts and head across town to meet with Alan Campbell at the pub. So I'll just move you guys all over in this general direction here. Why does he keep using the map? It's probably a trap. I'm waiting for combat to start. No!
unless we all turn giant real quick.
So you guys make your way over there and walk in, and Ellie, you notice right away, Ted is behind the bar already. Like, there's no way, you're doing the math. He can't have had more than about 4 hours sleep. Ronald is not at the door yet, but there's kind of this big sort of space where he's going to be. Like, even when he's not there, there's a certain presence. And other than that, there is nobody in here except Alan, who's sitting right in the very corner.
I just give
Little
Ted a
glass
bit of a wave
up in front of him.
and then go up to Alan. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The rest of you?
I'm right behind her.
You
Yep.
see him now for the first time. It's overnight now, so it's gone. It's not red and puffy anymore. It's all purple and swollen now. That eye is pretty much shut. The nose is definitely broken. It's not just bent. It's like over there. And he struck you before as being a very vain person, and it's really showing now. He's actually used makeup to try and cover it up, but it's still all puffed shut, but it's kind of got powder on it, like he's desperately tried to cover it up. And he's sitting all wonky in the chair, and Ellie, you know that he had a limp last night, so he's probably not comfortable the way he's sitting.
You know, I hear a doctor's a bit more useful at getting rid of those than your sister's makeup kit.
And he kind of, yes, I think hiding in the hotel room is going to be the best solution. But can I hire you to protect me?
What the hell happened to you?
There it is.
Remember those? Remember that not very nice man at the bank and the documents that we sent off?
They seem nice to me.
They're due back in 2 days, and yesterday, ever so conveniently, some very tough men met me outside and had a word with me about how I should leave town immediately and not stick around until the results of those documents come back.
Well, I warned you, karma, right?
He turns until his good eye is looking at you and just gives you this hideous stink eye with it.
Ooh, that looks very sore.
I'm oddly not. I don't know. This just karma's one thing, but this just don't feel right. Like, why? They wanted you to leave town before the documents came
Sounds
back?
like someone's worried about the results.
Sounds like somebody needs to get their tail handed to them.
Well, it's the banker, isn't it? It's obvious.
Is
The
it?
fake documents. As soon as that comes back, the mine's mine. He loses it.
Well, do you know these fellas that did this? Or do you know where they are?
I recognized a number of them. They were last seen running off into the trees by you folks, I believe. I think you chased them off. They were the train robbers, as I understand it. He wasn't there for that, but somebody's told him about it. He read the newspaper story. There you go.
And the train robbers came after you.
I think they must be working for somebody. I don't know. I just need somebody to protect me until 2 days. 2 days is all. The documents are here in 2 days.
You're asking us to put up with you for 2 days closely. You better be willing to pay.
Oh, there'll be plenty, because when the mine's mine, I will have a fortune. I'm going to stay in my room. I mean, honestly, just don't let anybody in to see me.
I pull off because I was on, what I forget, I think he gave me a deputy badge. I pull off my deputy badge because that's what I was doing yesterday. And I just put on my little regular badge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I ain't got nothing better to do.
It's like that action, that simple action, like it caused something. Because as you click that little pin into place and put your original jet marshal badge back on, or deputy badge back on, you hear, at first you mistake it for thunder outside. You realize it's not thunder. Gunfire. Lots of it. You hear horses' hooves. More gunfire, but hooting and hollering. Woo, yeah, woo, woo. Dance, fool, dance.
I'm out the door.
I follow behind.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bar, so they did not have the windows open during the day. As you step outside, you guys see right down the main street here, not where the tracks are, but 1 block north, all the way along here. There are, what you can see between the buildings and sort of extrapolating the rest, there's at least a dozen men on horseback, rifles and pistols drawn. They're firing into the air almost exclusively and yelling and chasing people around with their horses. There are 2 of them which are firing rounds at the ground in front of a couple of people, getting them to dance.
I got my rifle out.
Yeah, I pull out my pistol.
I get my shovel out.
Do I recognize these folks?
Everybody give me a scrutinize check.
I took a level in that.
Ew!
I can scrutinize now.
Oh my goodness.
No, you can't. None of you.
Barely.
None of you screwed it at all.
I'm
These are
all
quiz-
ones.
9 and 10. Okay.
What did I get? Oh, well, that's first.
Sometimes you just have to give whoever rolls highest the information. Sometimes, you forget about target numbers.
Sometimes pretend that they got enough, right? It's like,
Made it. You needed a 9.
yeah.
This makes sense. 2 of you see something out of the ordinary in this weird situation. First of all of you notice they're not firing at the locals. They're not firing at you. They are causing a disturbance. They're firing rounds into the air. It's like a bunch of drunk teenagers, except it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and they seem to be kind of a plan. They're doing this on purpose. Alice, you notice down the street, this makes sense, at the bank, you see some of these people, but they're not just scruffy. Most of these are bandits. You want the answer to do you recognize them? Yes. These are exactly the group of people that were hired by Kerwin, the banker, to roast you guys off the mountain. Same guys.
Did Alan follow us out? Do we have eyes on Alan?
He is just inside the door doing that peek around the frame thing.
Okay.
I just want to finish very quickly the two things that you guys see. Miss Alice, you see down at the bank a larger, more heavily built older man with 4 people who are clearly in his control, like they're following him. They're his lieutenants, sort of followers. They are heading right into the front door of the bank with guns drawn. At the same moment, Lucius, you look, because your eyes are attracted up the hill, and a couple hundred yards up the railway tracks, up that incredibly steep railway track, you see a group of about 20 or 30 people wearing long brown robes, hands clasped together in front of them, elbows out sideways. And leading them, there's a shorter, rounder version of that. And on the back of his robe, you can just see the top of it, is that melted Y.
The Baphomet symbol?
The Baphomet symbol.
Well, Alice didn't see that, so she's Jet. I do think that's a distraction. There might be a bank robbery happening or something.
You might want to put that deputy badge back on there.
I'm just gonna pin it to the other side, so I've got them both.
Like little metal pasties.
Star Spangled will call you.
Maybe this will protect. Eventually, I'll just have armor made out of badges.
Building a suit.
I am 47 deputies. Nice to meet you. So yeah, you guys burst out of the bar and are confronted with this scene of chaos. And in the midst of this clearly intentional chaos, there are 2 things happening. Somebody is breaking into the bank, and a group of people are heading up the hill to the mine dressed as what can only be described as religious devotees of a devil.
Who's the closest by me?
You guys are in, I just put you in a random order down at the bottom. You basically all just came out the door together. So you're all within 5 feet.
Whoever's on my right, I'll say Alice, and I point to the cultist going up the hill. That's peculiar.
And I'll say Lucius, and she'll point to the obviously armed men going in to rob the bank.
Oh, I saw them, but...
And the other 2 go, huh?
They have,
And you are now all up to date as to what's going on.
Oh boy.
They had that symbol, remember? The symbol of Baphomet we saw up the hill.
I wonder if that's part of the cult that the sheriff was talking about.
Oh man, I really want to know.
And
But they're not.
Another house on Main Street, from inside the house, you hear a very precisely timed group of shots. Bang, 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 bang. And 4 of these bandits in the street just drop off their horses. 1 shot dead. 1 in the chest, 1 in the chest, 1 in the head, 1 in the chest. And it changes everything. Everybody that was a distraction on this street, that was just shooting in the air, gun barrels come down. Rounds start firing into houses. Rounds start firing out of houses. It's serious now. People are dropping off their horses and getting behind buildings for cover.
So we have 3 scenarios between which we have to decide.
Oh my god.
So I understand, we're standing like out front right here.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we can still see down like over here. I'm just trying to make sure I understand how we're seeing this, so I know how to play this.
Yep, you guys, the This is on a little raised platform because, like I said, it's designed to look like a train station.
Gotcha.
It's got the raised platform that gets you 3 or 4 feet up, and between looking through the buildings, you can see enough. There's no fences in these buildings. It's just sort of you're looking through front yards and stuff. You might have to run back and forth across this fake train platform. Plane platform? That's interesting. Train platform. Do something with that, but not right now. The train platform, you run back and forth across it and get an idea. I mean, the cultists are easy to see. They're straight up the track to your left. Right?
Alice is taking her hands out of this decision, and she's gonna say, "All right, deputy, what are we doing?"
Well, I gotta handle the most immediate threat, and I'm gonna start running in this general direct. Well, I wish I could have my little pointy do out. Is this it? Yeah, I'm running this way.
Pointy.
Yep.
But
You're heading towards the bank.
Yeah, but as I'm going, I'm like, somebody's got to stay with Alan, and somebody's got to figure out what's going on with that. I point at the cultist. I want to go with the cultist, but I can't.
So I'm not going to move you where you've actually. I'm just going to move you where you sort of plan to go, just so we get an idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you're headed. Alice is going.
Alice follows Jet. That's
okay. So you're
rock, paper, scissors. Ellie, who goes to watch Alan?
Alan's right behind you guys. He is with you.
Cultist, I don't want to be stuck with him.
Ellie's trying to decide between Alan and cultists.
Looking.
Ready?
Ellie's decided. Yeah. Hold on.
I don't know if y'all are gonna be able to play
Here,
rock, paper, scissors.
I'll roll a d6.
Sure, I'll do the same.
If I roll even, I go odd, you go.
Okay.
In the middle of a running gun battle.
All of this, Ellie takes a coin out.
Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Best 2 out of 3.
You're stuck with Alan. I might die, but you're stuck with Alan.
Damn it. All right.
And paper beats rock. She covers your hand, looks at you, laughs, and runs up the tracks. Right?
Yep.
Towards my potential death.
Following at least 24 cultists up a strangely built railway track.
By herself.
For almost infinite. As long as we're clear.
Out of sight.
And Lucius looking down at your shovel going, yeah, you really wish I'd turned that into a scythe or maybe, like a rifle or something by this point. Step back into the bar with Alan.
Yep. Come on. Let's get you protected.
As you step into the bar, he is now behind the bar with Ted. I forgot his name. Ted. Behind the bar, and he is now counting out $20 bills on the counter, and Ted is handing him the whole bottle of absinthe.
Good response.
I put $5 down for just a cheap drink. It's like, yeah, well, I guess
And
we're going to
like
hell.
nothing is going on. Ted just pulls you a pint, puts it on the table in front of you, nods. Breakfast beer. It's on me.
Thank you.
At that point, you hear from inside a huge explosion. Jet and Alice, you guys, Alice a little more slowly than Jet because Jet can boogie and you can't. Gets out onto the main street, and because the firefight is more or less at the other end, at the east end of this village, there's only a couple rounds whistling up and down the street here, and he seems to be completely oblivious to them. He is on his way to the bank. You come around the corner behind him, and just as you do, the bank bulges. And a second later, you hear the boom. And the walls of the bank just... And there's splinters and chunks of wood out into the street. There's, Jet, you skid to a stop. There's just this massive cloud of explosion with wood coming out of it. You look down, totally unmarked. Not even a splinter. You look up, and stumbling out of this destroyed bank is this older man that you saw heading in, and his hat's all almost blown off, and his face is all covered in soot, and he's just swearing, just man, and you can tell him the explosion. You can hardly hear. There's no way he can hear what he's saying, but he's just effing and blinding. He is just letting loose. And all that you hear is, that rat bastard lied, the safe was empty. And behind him, only one of the 4 people that went in with him comes literally crawling out, dragging, like, it looks like he's probably had his back broken and he's sort of pulling himself out of the ruins and his legs just hanging behind him.
Okay. Well. How on a... Is this firefight that I'm hearing still happening? Or just...
Yeah, you skid to a stop. There's this huge explosion. You're kind of like, well, what do you turn around and there's 20, 25 people. Now they've more or less dropped off the streets. They're all hiding behind buildings, and it's gone kind of. It's a weird thing with pistols in particular in firefights in towns. After everybody gets behind cover, almost nobody gets hit. There's a lot of rounds in the air. And a lot of buildings getting shot, a lot of glass breaking. Any animals that were out in the street have been shot down by now. But there's this, it's sort of almost stagnated.
It's like really in the Westerns when they're like...
Yeah, it's the real deal. There's, yeah. Even in real combat, what they discovered over the years is that most soldiers do this. They don't put their heads out. Why would you? That's stupid. You could die.
Exactly.
So it's settled down. There's like the peek and shoot. Nobody's. But let's just say the citizens seem to be holding their own. And at this point, because you're just across the street now, the sheriff's door comes kicking open. And with amazing calmness, he just slides his hat back on his head, draws out his pistol, and starts just plink, plink, plink as he's walking stone cold right down the middle of the street.
What a badass.
You see every once in a while a little as somebody just near misses him, and it hits the dust by his feet, and he finishes his first, and you see him dump the 6 shells like that and speed load another 6, spins it back into double fisted grip.
Wow. Well, he has that handled.
Even Alice is kind of
like
oh,
Jet in particular. You've met this man a number of times. He's moving like he's 20 years younger than he looked this morning. Like, this is a man in his element.
Even Alice is like, oh Lord. Yeah.
Oh my dear.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we got to handle this before we move on to anything else. But I have a bad feeling this was a big distraction, because this don't seem right. This guy obviously didn't get what he came for. Now everybody's actually... Wait, who fired the... I don't have time for this. I'm going to get behind
what are you doing?
some kind of corner.
Not come from the sheriff's location. Somebody else started this, some civilian. But probably with military training, given the precision of the shots. But that's not surprising. You're in the middle of a 30-year civil war. Most people have got military training.
Right. I guess I'm a hunker down around a corner with Alice. I'll keep an eye on that guy who stumbled out, because I'm going to want to go make sure I get him before this is all said and done. But I got to handle this first. So.
Yeah, and he looks up the hill. Kerwin! And starts to move in that direction, following the other group.
The cultists?
The cultists, yeah.
Okay.
It looks like that's where we're going.
Alice, you come running up just at that point, and just in time to see Jet take off down the road again.
I'm like,
Following Kerwin.
Hikes her
You
dress up.
recognize it. It's this, or you don't recognize this guy, but now that he's said the name, you put together the short round image. The guy leading that group of cultists is the banker.
He's the what?
The banker.
Oh, good.
Oh my gosh.
It's Kerwin. Yes. Oh, and I got to show you. It didn't really come up, but I got to show you because I did. NPCs.
Oh, okay.
Found some artwork.
Well, what are you guys doing while I find
So
this?
I'm thinking. Okay. So
Oh, here he is.
So the banker told him there was money in the safe. He can have it for the cause of the distraction, so they could do whatever nonsense they put up there.
That's the nasty fellow that just came stumbling out of the bank.
Oh dear God, he's giant, and I don't like looking at him.
He's so big.
I will now reduce him to proper scale, but I could not resist.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I mean, if even hearing that, I would have at least held a corner before running off, and I would have tried to knock a few down just because, I mean, there's civilians out here. I can't just leave.
Okay,
I
so
know.
what do you do? You're going to help the sheriff suppress this?
Yeah, at least until, and as soon as I'm done, it's after them because that's going to be
Okay.
the bigger problem.
Perfect. Miss Alice
Listen,
Jet
like I
goes
said,
full hero mode and starts following the sheriff down the street.
all right. Well, Alice ain't gonna quite do that, but she's gonna kind of duck off to the side, and she's gonna see. You're gonna try to see if she can't maybe sneak up behind one of them,
Okay, one of
like
the
come around.
bandits. Yep. You're going to go around the block. They're pretty much all on Main Street. So yeah, you
Yeah.
lift up your skirts and very once you're out of sight of everyone, you very unladylike stretch that stride out and
Yep.
just before coming around the corner, you grab the skirt again and around the corner like
Mhm.
a proper lady,
Yep.
rifle in hand, or just trying to walk up and smack one. Absolutely.
Rifle in hand.
Okay, so you two guys are off to help quell the riot. Meanwhile, in the bar, Lucius, he takes one look at you, and there's the bartender's put out a little glass for his absinthe, and he just pops the cork out of the bottle and has about that much out of the absinthe bottle, puts it down, and by the time he puts it down, he's unconscious, and his hand just comes loose, and he falls behind the bar. You hear as his head hits the ground behind the bar. He
Yeah,
didn't try and stop the fall, and neither, it must be noted, did Ted.
Well, I guess I'll take him. Wait, is the inn part of the bar? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's the place you guys were staying is all the way back downtown in the middle of a gunfight.
Okay, so I guess I'll take him in my room.
Ted looks at you and looks down at him and says, "I got him if you want." And he uses his foot to sort of push him into the corner.
Oh, work makes my job easier.
Yeah, go get shot or something.
Yeah, I'll be. I'm gonna go help out there. Okay, just yeah. What was her name?
Ted, nice to meet you.
Lucius, nice to meet you. I'll see you later. Thanks for the beer. And I run out.
Ever polite, out the door.
Who are you? Can you watch that guy? Yeah, thanks. Cool.
Thanks. I'll go to the firefight. Have fun.
So Ellie, you've got the advantage here in space. You just out the door and up the tracks. Just it's very quickly noticeable to you that it's a procession in front of you. It's like they're in church. They're walking quite slowly, but it is a steep hill, and it's going to take a while for you to catch up. But you hear a low chanting from all of them.
All right, I'm gonna run like in the trees so that I can see them. But if I do catch up, I'll kind of not be super noticeable.
Sure, gotcha. So give me a sneaking. Not like they're paying much attention. It won't be a very high difficulty, but
I will when I find it. There it is.
Just so we do use the mechanics from time to time. Yeah, you dip into the trees, and because you're in the trees and you're moving slower, they don't see you. You can tell they're not paying attention, but you're now not really gaining on them. You're sort of following at the same speed, so you've got them in clear view. They're within pistol range, but to catch up, you would have to go out into the open and run them down.
Okay, that's fine. Am I within earshot of them? Can I hear them?
You can. What you hear is, it sounds like a made-up language. It sounds like somebody trying to make a language that sounds all scary. And every once in a while, the only thing that you really recognize is, or at the end of every sentence, they all end with Baphomet. And then a bunch of stuff that's designed to sound scary, and then Baphomet.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna follow them like that.
Okay, so you keep them in. And now behind that, Lucius running up the. You come out the door. You look. You can see Ellie as she cuts into the trees. She went running up the tracks and then cut into the trees.
I follow
You hear
right
the
behind.
gunfight downtown, but you don't know what's going on down there.
I run for Ellie as fast as I can.
Okay. Now, are you going straight up the tracks, or are you going to try and hide in the trees as well?
I will do the same.
Okay. So you're going to sort of maintain that same distance back. You guys, you're not significantly faster or slower. Ellie, you hear crashing and banging behind you. You turn and look, and you see Lucius bringing up the rear, shovel in hand. At around this time in downtown, Jet, are you shooting them, or how are you helping the sheriff? He's blowing them away.
Yeah, they're shooting at like civilians, so I've got my rifle out and I'm just playing corners at that point. Like I'm brave, but I'm not walking down a street, you know.
Sure, you're not Sheriff Brave.
Yeah.
So you start providing cover fire. You drop behind one building, and every time it looks like somebody's drawing a bead on him, you just firing at them. Most of the shots miss, like I said, but every once in a while and you see a guy hit in the shoulder. What you notice is that as soon as you hit them, they're turning and running. Even if they're only wounded, they're just getting out. And as the sheriff walks down the street, quickly, Alice.
Yep.
You have snuck up behind one of them. What did you wanted to thump him?
Well, so what she was gonna do before she, because obviously using the gunshots to mask the sound, she was gonna pull her glass perfume bottle out of her purse,
Okay.
smash it with her foot, and try to get a shard out of it, and of course wrap it in a handkerchief so that she doesn't cut herself.
As you're running around the block, you accomplish this. Yeah.
And Alice is gonna
unladylike fashion. And you're going to do what?
She don't want to give away her cover, so she don't want to go shooting.
Yeah. So what you got this nice big shard of glass wrapped in a handle. What are you doing with it?
I'm gonna stab him.
Okay. Yeah, we really don't need to roll this part of the fight out. Jet, you've shot a couple of them by this point. They're dropping. They're starting to fall back. Miss Alice, you reach down, and just before you're going to stab this guy in the back of the neck, he sort of turns to run and runs right into it. And just looks at you with these huge wide eyes.
Alice will kind of do one of these where she's like, ugh, and she like.
And you sort of tilt it, and he just falls off of it to the ground. Yeah. At this point, like I said, a couple shots from Jet. The sheriff is still just walking down the street. He's been hit twice now, once in the shoulder and once in the leg. He's got a bit of a limp, but it hasn't stopped him at all. Fires the last couple rounds, and the last of them are gone, running off into the trees. You turn around and look, and the man whose name you didn't know, but I put it there anyway, Devil Reese, is now he's not moving real quick because of the results of the explosion, but he's made it to the railway tracks, and he's starting to head up them. Neither one of you have any idea where the other two members of your party are.
All right. After Alice shanks a couple people, she's gonna drop her thing, by the way.
Yep. Yeah, you couple. Yeah, you the last one. You realize it's time to stop when you actually have to chase one down that was already running.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't.
yeah. Alice has lived a life. Hey, don't.
Luckily, it's a red dress and they don't show the blood.
Exactly.
Jet looks horrified.
I'm the good one again. It always happens to me. Why am I always the only good person in the party?
You're muted, Sky.
You're muted.
Yeah.
I'm still just like, I'm thinking I'm looking down the sight of my gun, like lining up shots, and then I'm about to line up another one because I see movement, and then I just see Alice stabbing this man in the throat, and I'm just like,
I wanted to ask Kevin, did I see Devil Reese, or did he? No.
He's actually behind you, and you're pretty much focused ahead of this.
Yeah, okay.
As far as you know, the other two went to deal with the bank robbery, so you wouldn't, sort of make the connection.
Right.
If they're all peeling, I'm gonna tell the sheriff, be like, that feller was in the bank, kind of point.
And he stops, and at that point, you can see he kind of lets the pain hit him, and he starts stumbling back towards you. He's almost dropped the gun out of his hand. He looks, he says, "What bank? Oh,
Was that not what just blew up?
yeah, it was. There's nothing left."
Oh, that's what. Okay.
Oh, you. Let's get you to the doctor.
Which is
I
like
know where the doctor is, son.
It's like right there, isn't it?
It's right there. So yeah, the you look over. He says, "You know where the doctor," or "I know where the doctor is, son." And your eyes kind of flick over for a second, and see the ravens on the rooftop.
Yep. I'm gonna just, ignore that and put my arm under him and just kind of like hobble him over there real quick.
Okay. And then your plan is to.
We gotta get our horses so we can catch up.
All
in,
right.
In fact, I might tell Alice that. Just be like, we gotta go get our horses. I gotta get him in here, but we gotta catch up.
Alice is here for it. She's kind of like revved up from all the. She's like
From all the stabbing.
yeah.
Alice has a new hobby.
Oh.
So yeah, there's that sort of crazy light in her eyes when she comes around the corner of Jet.
But she doesn't have the shard anymore. She's got her gun back out now.
Yeah.
She dropped the shard because it was bloody.
And you guys start, you explain, go get the horses, and you start making your way in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you guys are going to be bringing up the rear. Let me just, you can see I've kind of set up a sort of, it's not how close you are to each other, but it's kind of the order that you're in on the way up the hill down at the bottom of the map. So Ellie, again, you're the only one that's really close enough to see and hear these people. Lucius, you can see Ellie ahead of you. And the two of you at the back run off, get your horses, and you get back here and start up the hill, and you see Devil Reese, this old fella, limping his way up the tracks with his pistol in one hand and his rifle still over his back. And he's screaming, "Kerwin, I'll kill you." What would we all like to do?
I will try to catch up to Ellie quickly.
Give me just a straight strength. This is steep hill.
Well,
The two of you riding, I need animal. What is it called in this game?
Do you need animal wrangling or riding?
Animal wrangling. That's what I need.
Or what about horse riding?
Horse riding. Yeah, horse riding. Let's do that.
strength's my
That's the
best.
appropriate one.
Literally, it's a 1-6. 1d6.
Well, not great.
Okay. Lucius, you make up a little bit of distance, but yeah, you're the problem here is patent leather shoes. They've got these real slippery soles, and you're trying to climb up in this, like we said before, this is the forest with this duff underneath, right? This soft, springy pine material underneath. So you make up a little bit of ground, but not very much. Jet, you land on your horse like you were born to be there. Miss Alice, this is almost as impressive as the sheriff walking down the street blowing people away. This is a man in his element. He just and he's gone past you before you even get your foot in the stirrup.
That's why I was so distracted because I was
maybe the sheriff, you see the bleeding sheriff walking away, still more heroic, walking into the doctor's office. So maybe that distracted you too.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's that you insist on riding side saddle at a gallop. But one way or another, you took 2 tries to get on your horse. But luckily no one saw.
That's all that matters. That really, at the end of the day, that is all that matters.
But yeah, you do that you sort of back in and put your heel in the stirrup and kick your butt up on the seat and try to ride side saddle. The horse goes that way, you go that way, you land on the ground, you jump up, do it again, and come out the door. But he's almost out of town.
Well then.
No. With that, the cultists, led by Banker Kerwin, arrive at the end of the line. Ellie, you're puffing your way up the hill. You can see them get there. They start to stop, and these 2 rows that you saw before part when they get to the end of the line. And in between them, you see that they've been carrying a pole. And on this pole is a person. And his hands are tied like that, and his ankles are tied around the pole, like the old victims in the old movies. and they prop one end of the pole up against the big X, and the other end in the end of the tracks.
Is he still alive?
What are you doing to me? You look behind you. Nobody's close enough to help. Now that you can see, there's 20 cultists and the banker. Kerwin pulls out a dagger and starts to chant in that unreal language.
Do any of the cultists look armed, aside from the dagger?
It's very difficult to tell because they're all wearing long, dark brown robes. And the dagger that he's got doesn't look particularly functional, like it's very ornamental. It doesn't look like it would be much to fight with, but it looks sharp.
Okay.
Two of them step forward and hold. He's starting to struggle a little bit, and two of them hold him while Kerwin approaches, muttering more of this language and starting to hold the dagger up.
I'm gonna fire at him. I'm gonna regret this.
Go ahead and make a shooting check. You're firing at Kerwin?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody waits. An 11. He is not in cover. Go ahead and roll the damage for me.
Ooh.
More than anything else, it's that location that makes the difference.
Over
You
his arm.
see him
Hell yeah.
reach up with his right arm with the dagger projecting out from it. And you think, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. And you pull the trigger and from the cultists' point of view, they hear behind them and sort of sense that flash of a gunfire. They turn around, and from your point of view, 20 sets of eyes just... But Kerwin gets shot here, and the arm just folds. The dagger falls, catches his shoulder, and falls forward onto the ground. He turns and looks at you and goes to grab his hand and misses because it's done that. Forget them. Forget them. Just complete the ritual. And he starts to try and bend down with his left hand to grab the dagger. At this point, Lucius, you run up beside Ellie.
Okay. Can I
With
try
your
to
shovel from 30 feet away?
Okay. I'd like to try to intimidate everyone and going, what the hell are you all doing?
You step out into the open and give me an intimidation check.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna probably die. Here we go.
You and me both, man.
See you in hell. Okay. Oh, please, 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 baby. Come on. Oh, come on.
You step out and give it your best, your biggest, baddest, loudest voice, and try and use all the dignity of your profession. And he turns to you and just tilts his head to the side. You don't understand.
I understand what you're
I'm
doing.
bringing a demon.
Demon. I'll tell you.
See in his eyes just insanity.
A demon. Call that a demon. I've seen demons. Sometimes, they're priests who take their shepherd, who take their flock and lead them astray. Sometimes they're corrupt marshals. And sometimes they're fucking monsters like me.
And as you say that, one of the followers reaches over, grabs the dagger, reaches up, and cuts the throat of the guy tied to the post. Kerwin looks at you and says, "Too late."
I scream.
At this point, Devil Reese comes stumbling up to the two of you and kind of looks at you and looks at him and goes to pull out his gun, and he fires around, but it misses because he's still all shell-shocked and such from the explosion at the bank. The two of you down the hill hear shots and yelling at the top of the hill.
Wait, you just hear me scream.
Did we see like the whole group going up there?
You guys, it was pointed out to you that there was a group headed up there. Yeah, you guys would not know about the victim, and you would not be able to see what just happened. You guys are still coming up the hill, even though you're on horseback. You're close, but you're not there yet.
Can you get something out of your bag while you're riding, or is that?
Yep. Oh yeah, with that roll, yeah, you certainly can.
Oh
Lady Alice. Sure. She's royalty. Miss Alice probably best hold on with both hands with what she rolled.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, natural horseman. So
I've got that stick of dynamite and a match, and I've got the match in my teeth, and that stick of dynamite's in my vest right next to my heart.
of course, where else would you keep it? Yeah.
and I'm just ready because I mean I don't know. It's a lot of people.
That hill. Miss Alice, you are bringing up the rear, and you see Jet starting to get ready to fight. You got your rifle still. You're on your horse heading up the hill. Anything special you're doing? Stopping, turn around, going back to Dallas?
Right. No, she, after hearing, because it was like, it would have been 2 shots? And then a scream, like a shot and a shot and then a scream. And she probably would have recognized the scream as, I maybe recognize it as Ellie's. I mean, what
Certainly a female scream for sure.
Yeah. Well, she thinks it's Ellie because what other woman is
logical?
What
Yeah.
other, you know?
Who else shoots people and screams at them?
So she's just like, she's just booking it. She's just, yeah.
Ladies be damned! You flip the leg over and start riding this horse, not side saddled.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going now. And you start to close up a little bit. You can see you're getting closer to Jet now as we speak. Jet, you crest the top of the hill just in time to see just beside you this bandit king, if that's what he was, crouched down on the ground, sort of trying to get his pistol into a position to get off a shot. Lucius is standing, shovel in hand, trying to look terrifying, but I'm afraid to say it, nobody looks terrified. And Ellie is in the trees, smoking pistol in hand, screaming as she stares, and you follow her eyes and see this man tied to the pole with his throat cut and the blood gushes out. The 3 of you have a split second to recognize that. And then a sound like steam hissing under extreme pressure starts coming out of the mine itself. You turn and look. The first time you were here, it was a crack in the rock. The second time you were here, it was a framed tunnel, about 6 feet on a side. Now the opening is 12 feet by 12 feet. It's framed in heavy, permanent-looking logs. And you can see a white smoke inside the mine. And then, almost like a smoke ring, it comes out and washes over this area that you guys are in. It's ice cold. It's like frost. And then you hear that screaming, howling hiss again. And this time the smoke that comes out is black and laced with fire. Just. And when it backs away this time, there were 2 insubstantial metal tracks, railway tracks, that come out of the mine and connect with the end of Milton's Fall.
I'm sorry, what the hell did you just say? Did you say what I think you said?
And you hear, thank you, Jonathan, perfect. You hear the sounds of an approaching steam engine train. It's not this gentle. It's howling. You can hear the steam whistling out of it. You can hear the raging squeal of the steel wheels against the rails. It's coming out of the mine. Kerwin turns and holds up his hands, and one of them goes because it's shot right through right there. And he starts just chanting, Baphomet, Baphomet, and the cultists start gathering on both sides of the rails. Alice, you come cresting the hill. You missed all that, but you see the result. There's black smoke billowing out of this mine, which is now 12 feet by 12 feet. The cultists are lined up beside the track. There's a dead man bleeding out on the cross, and Kerwin the banker is screaming, Baphomet, Baphomet. What would all of you like to do?
Can I shoot at him again?
Absolutely. Kerwin?
Yes.
Yep. Go ahead and make a shooting test. Everybody else?
I will throw one of my daggers at him if I can.
Yep. Go ahead and make a throw-in check.
Okay. Would that be more sleight of hand? Oh no, that's quick draw.
No,
Sorry.
throw-in is its own skill.
Okay, give me a second. Where?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah, go
boy.
ahead and roll damage for me, Hannah. Or Ellie, sorry. Jet. Alice. On horseback. You got a nice view.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak.
You're gonna,
I'm gonna try to shoot the banker, I guess.
okay. So go ahead and roll shooting. Yeah. And Jet, you're going to have to explain, go for the double.
I see them lining up. As soon as I crested and saw this group, I already had an idea, but now that I see that connect, I'm pale. Like, I'm concerned, and it's just like I pull that dynamite out and I light it, and I'm trying to throw it right between the two groups and the tracks, hopefully to sever those tracks and blow them all to hell, because nope.
Give me a throw-in check.
Cause nope.
I'm gonna say I didn't succeed. Damn it.
I
So,
don't have a
Ellie, you get a grip again and brace yourself on the tree and fire another round. This one goes in just below his ribs from the back, and you see he's shot right in the innards. He's not doing well. He drops to one knee and he loses most of his breath, but he's still going, Baphomet, Baphomet, Baphomet.
The guy who was killed, how old does he look?
Mid-20s. Looks like he was probably a prospector or a miner, if you're close enough. Lucius, yeah, your knife just hits the ground just in front of him, skips off a rock and just misses him.
Shit.
Alice, maybe you're on horseback at the last second, your beautiful horse's head comes around. It's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not shooting her, and
Yeah.
you shoot into this guy instead. And all of you, time kind of stops for a second because you all see a red stick flying through the air with fire coming off of one end of it, and you know exactly what that is. And this stick of dynamite hits the crossbar of the mine and drops down, and it's right below the center of the mine, and it goes off in a flash. And you see those three big logs fly out into space, rock behind them, flying out.
When I see the dynamite, can I like make a grab for Lucius and try to like yank him into the trees with me?
Yeah, you guys are, you're far enough back that it's, there's going to be some splintering, so I absolutely go ahead and make a, what would that be, deftness? Yeah, see how deft you are to reach out and grab him and pull him. Yeah, so you just grab him right by his ponytail, that big long ponytail he's got, and you wrap and just pull. And he just about loses his hat. He's pulled back away from the edge of the rails, which is a damn good thing, because that explosion goes and you're waiting for everything to drop to the ground, except it doesn't. Out of that hole, first a yellowish red light that just makes you think of sick. It just makes you think if that light touches you, you're going to be ill for a week. It's just like a ray of nasty comes out of that tunnel, and it keeps getting wider and wider and wider, and you realize it's got to be the train comes out of the side of the mountain. That's the headlight on the front of the train. The train itself is made out of steel, but not steel. You know what it is right away. This entire train is made out of ghost steel. It's got unnecessary spikes and protrusions and blades and extra wheels and extra whistles and bells that scream and howl on the top. On the front, on the cow catcher at the front, you see almost rotten bodies. There's a dozen of them, 6 on each side, tied to the cow catchers, clearly dead souls screaming in agony as this train blasts through the rock. Behind this unbelievable nightmare creation is a fairly simple black box that you recognize as the coal car, but coming off of it is a white, pale smoke and a screaming that you recognize. It's full of ghost rock and it's on fire. Behind that, boom, 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 one at a time, 3 carriages, inside of which you see pressed up against the glass these insubstantial faces and palms and fingers pressed against the glass as they blow out of the side of the mountain. As they do, stop me at any time and tell me what you want to do. As they do, the windows shatter and the cultists on either side of the rail, white hands come out and pull them into the train as the train blows past at high speed.
I'm gonna start
Seconds.
moving towards where the 2 with the horses are.
You're just backing away from this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm grabbing one of them and pulling him up. We gotta go.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab Jet's hand and go on the back of his horse.
And yeah, you guys spin up on horses and head into the trees. The last thing you see,
Lady?
Wait.
the last thing you see is the last of the cultists being pulled into one of the carriages. And at the very front, giant red muscular arm snaps out of the cabin of the train and grabs Kerwin by the throat and gone inside. You see his head snap back. There's no way he survived that impact as that thing grabbed his throat and pulled him into the engine of the train. And all you hear, the last thing you hear him say is Baphomet.
And this train's headed towards paradise.
Yeah,
The
it's
train
going.
drops down. It's come out of there so fast that it's in the air and it drops down and shatters that big wooden cross, totally obliterating the sacrifice. Lands on the rails and the rails start to spike and spray fire in all directions like they've locked up the brakes. And it's impossibly steep. And you watch from above as this train plummets down into the valley, leaving behind it a V shape of fire. You look to the sides, these trees, you can tell in an instant they're never going to grow again. And it tapers as it heads down, and you watch that train, watch helplessly as that train plummets the 2 miles down this valley into town. And as it gets into town, you see the engine come off the rails and turn sideways. And the coal car smashes into the side of that. And then 1, 2, 3, the carriage cars slam into that. And it goes right down the tracks, ripping the tracks out as it goes, until at the end of it, it goes right through the end of the line saloon. The remains of that, the rails and the ties made of ghost steel at the end of the tracks, all of it is just hurled like oversized shrapnel into the tent city. And you watch just tent after tent, even from this distance, just get crushed by the shrapnel. When you look down the hill, you're no longer seeing paradise like it looks on this map. You're seeing it like it looks on this one. There is a huge, destroyed V of death that goes all the way up the mountain. It's got to be half a mile wide at the top, and it just gets narrower as you look down this path of devastation to the town. And then out of the carriages at the bottom of the hill, we see and what used to be the cultists start climbing out and working their way into town.
I'm after that. From the moment I got on my horse, like, I'm not gonna ride straight through fire, but I'm gonna come as close as possible because I gotta get back to town.
Give me another animal wrangling. Anybody who's on a horse who's going down that hill, give me animal wrangling.
Yeah.
Everybody else, give me deafness to see how fast you can get down without falling.
Although I will check with Ellie as soon as I start. I was like, I'm going back. I don't know. Are you good?
You guys can double up if you want. It will make
Yeah,
the difficulty for
I would've-
whoever drives the horse more higher.
What do I roll?
You just flip on the horse. You said you were getting on Jet's horse earlier, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just
I'm
flip on
already.
behind him. Jet, give me a animal wrangling, and it's just with her on the back. It's going to be a higher DC.
You mean horse riding? Just making sure.
Horse riding, yeah, horse riding. I keep wanting to make you do that other one, but you're not horse whispering.
I
you're horse
would've-
riding.
let Lucius on my horse.
Okay, and
I
then
give a simple bow and get on quickly.
and then give me horse riding. Okay, you guys skither and slide, and the horses are probably going to need at least a shoe change by the time by tomorrow. There's even some, they kind of had to drop butt a couple times on the way down, so there may be a couple scratches on them, but it's not time. Even your beautiful, pretty horse, it's not time, right? It's time to go.
Mhm.
Guys, it feels so slow because as fast as you're going, you can see ahead of you these creatures spreading out around the town, and every time they meet a civilian, it's just 1, 2, and pull them in. 1, 2, and pull them in. Just when it seems absolutely hopeless, you hear gunshots, and you're looking down, and none of these creatures have got guns, and they start to shake and shimmer, and it's taking a lot of rounds, but they are starting to drop one at a time. Must be the locals. They must be putting up some resistance. And you're all in your heads as you're heading down the hill doing the math, like trying to figure out how many are going to be dead by the time we get there. How many are going to be dead by the time we get there? And you slither back to the bottom of the hill into town, into this place where the train turns sideways, and all of a sudden it's just wreckage everywhere. It's fire on the ground, but you sort of ignore it and walk through. Even your horses realize this is important. And as you get to where the saloon used to be, there are these empty carriages. The fight has moved sort of over into central town. And again, you see the sheriff and a couple of other locals have got that part under control. But there was that big red arm. And as you skid to a stop where the saloon used to be, out of that engine, I mean, it's a devil. The big horns up and back and curled back, the red skin, the bulging muscles. But it's weird because it's also got like a belly, jowls, and a fringe. It's still recognizably Kerwin's body, but taken over. And he looks at the four of you approaching, and almost without looking, his hand snaps off to the side and he grabs one of the tents and lifts it up and turns it over, and there's a man inside screaming, and he just smiles for a second, and it's like all the life gets sucked out of this man. And he drops it, and just as husk hits the ground. Now that I've had breakfast, perhaps a little fight. Spin, and he flexes his claws. So very long. Roll quickness.
I don't want to. I have no desire to do that.
Oh god. Come on, come on.
That's
come on.
it? Oh, wow. That's impressive. Okay. So he only gets 3.
Only.
So, boom, boom. There we go. So, we have, with our quicknesses, Lady Alice, you get 2 cards. Jet, you get 2 cards. Ellie, you get 2 cards. I get 2 cards, and unfortunately, Lucius, it's just not your night. You get 1 card.
Okey-dokey.
So 2 for me.
If you got a 10, you get 2.
Uh-oh. Ran out of
Ran out
cards.
of cards.
Oh, good grief. I hate this system. I built this. It's better than this. Shuffle, Shuffle the deck. There we go. Deal. 2 cards to Alice. Did that work?
Yeah.
Worked. All right. And Lucius, you get 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask a technical question.
Sure. Go ahead.
What is a Joker again?
Joker means you can go whenever you want. Is it a black Joker or a red Joker?
The text is in black, so I assume that means it's.
That is a black Joker. What that means is you can use that Joker at any time, but as soon as you do, at the end of your turn, the turn ends, all the cards go back in the deck, and we start the next round.
Okay.
So you can use it whenever, but there is a price to be paid. Nobody gets to go after you. Now, if all of your people have gotten to go before you, that's fine, but...
Yeah. All right.
So, yes, Baphomet himself is now standing on top of the ruins of this shattered train. There's still steam rising from the broken boiler behind him, along with the smoke. And he just goes... And you just see liters and liters of ghost rock smoke go up his nose. Aces. Kings. Queens. Oh dear. Because guess who's got a queen? It's going to move you guys over here where you are. There is a flicker of movement. I mean, it is just almost too fast to watch. He's standing on top of the engine. He runs like parkours along the coal car, makes that huge leap and runs across the top of the carriages and comes flying off that, and just like one arm out each, like the old 80s wrestlers. He's going for a double clothes hanger. One on Jet and one on Ellie. So on Jet an 11, and on Ellie a 9. You guys are not wearing armor or protection of any kind, right?
Just my chaps.
Just he does not punch you in your chapel area. So, wow. Jet, he reaches out and grabs your left arm and just grabs it by the wrist and just pulls, while he's used his right arm or his left foot to it's on your chest. He just pulls your arm like he's trying to pull it out by the root. Take 31 out of my 6. You take 4 wounds to the left arm. Almost you feel the wrist dislocate, you feel the elbow dislocate, you feel the shoulder dislocate. The other attack versus Ellie. This time he just reaches out with his foot and just kicks you right in the side of your right knee, and it bends the wrong way, like it's supposed to, and it does the and you drop. You take 4 wounds to your right leg. Oh, fun. Jax.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Jack, okay.
Slightly distracted by my
No problem. There's a
battery.
demon in the room. Start of your turn. Give me a terror check, a guts check.
Oh yeah, I bet I need to.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. Roll 2d6 for me, please, with the keep all. That is almost as brave as you can be after failing that bad. You, for just a second, you're like, this can't be real. I don't believe in this. and you almost forget to do something, but not quite. So you're going to get a -1 penalty on whatever you do, but you almost missed an action.
Okay. Well, I mean, I doubt it's gonna do much, but I might as well try to shoot at him.
He's right here in your face. So
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead and pull the trigger. 19. That is an excellent hit. Go ahead and roll the damage. Okay, in the gizzards. So yeah, he's just knocked you down. You just stuff your gun up into his guts and pull the trigger, and the sound's even muffled because of the big belly fat, and you can see it's like a wave goes through him from that spot where it hits. You get the and there's sort of a shake behind it, and he looks down at you, and he looks genuinely surprised. And he looks at the hole. And he looks at you again. That's not supposed to happen. And he looks well and truly shocked. Anybody else with 10s?
I have a 10.
Okay, go ahead. What are you doing? These two in front of you have just been, like, one of them just about had his arm pulled off. The other one just about had her leg pulled off.
Alice is gonna, she's gonna back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or she doesn't do.
Yep.
And I'm on horseback, so.
Yeah, you still are, sure.
I'm just gonna kind of.
Which kind of takes Lucius with you by
Yeah.
default.
Oh.
I go kind of here-ish, there-ish. There we go. And then shooting.
Okay. Make that shooting.
I can find. That's an 11.
Go ahead and roll me some damage. I mean, it's great big and he's right in front of you, and it was real easy to hit. He's not hiding. You saw that look of shock too, like when the bullet hit him and he took damage.
Yeah. She was gonna go a different route, but then when she saw that, she was kind of like, maybe this is a thing.
Okay, so you shoot him fairly close to the same spot. She got him sort of up under the rib cage. You got him just below that, sort of just above the belly button. And again, that weird ripple sensation as it goes through. And it doesn't do as much damage. Neither did the first one. It didn't do as much damage as you thought, which makes sense from what you've seen from Rock Wolves. He wasn't taking much damage, but he is absolutely gobsmacked that he's taking any at all. And he actually reaches in with his finger into the hole and kind of pulls it out and looks. And, no. 9s? Well, he does. So, let's see. What have we got right here? He's right in front of him. He is going to... He's going to pick Jet up and throw him down the street. Yes, he is. You, Jet, you try and resist. You try and pull back, but he's just too strong. And you mean your one arm is just dangling by your side. You're thinking, is that ever going to work again? And he just picks you up by the throat. It starts to squeeze, and it starts to get dark. Your vision starts to come in, and then you feel the sensation of whoop, and woof, and you're just flying through the air. You land way up here. Jesus. I didn't even make you roll wind from that last one. I'm not going to. You were in shock. You didn't get winded, but you are going to take wind from this one. Yeah, 11 points of wind. And you landed on that shoulder. So you just felt like the bone on bone grind as you slide to a stop up the street. Your vision is like looking down a tube. It hurts so much. It's like you're looking down you're seeing the world through a toilet roll tube. It's that small now. And you look back up and you've never felt so helpless in your life. 8s.
8 of spades.
Okay.
I don't know if I can do this. I was gonna go, Alice. Do you want to do something crazy? Do you want to like right over there and I'll take a swing at him?
That would have to wait till her turn to control the horse.
Okay, so could I don't know, how would that work? Like if I could just ready myself in a sense?
That doesn't. That they don't do that in this game.
Okay, and only if Alice would be go for it. If not, I'm gonna hop off and try to run to
What
Jen.
you can do
Would
is
it be?
hold your card, right? Which is put your card up your sleeve. Is the terminology used in the game, and that means you can use it anytime between now and you can keep it and use it as essentially as a wild card.
Alice has 2 sticks of dynamite on her.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible for her to tell Lucius that? And
Yep.
Yeah,
And he would. I mean, it would require that the gentleman put his hand in your bag to get them.
All right. Well, we're a little past that now. All right.
You want me to grab them and throw one, and you throw the other? Is that the plan?
Well,
I will point out that the large dude in question is looming over a entirely defenseless Ellie,
Yes, that's a good point.
Please don't blow me up.
and dynamite has a range.
I was thinking that you could throw it behind him and get it, like,
Could certainly try.
but
I'll take a try, and if
I
it
mean, you
fails,
can't-
I will
you got a
use
shovel,
it.
so I'm, can't really.
Okay.
I will certainly try, and if it fails, I will use one of my chips.
So you haul out the stick of dynamite, and for purposes, you manage to get it lit all in one action, and you hurl it. Go ahead and make a throwing check for me.
Oh god. Oh god, please let my throwing work for once.
I gotta update my count here.
Just throwing, right?
This is not something you're trained to do, so just plain throw-in.
Okay. I have it labeled as knife, so I don't have it
Just do
yet.
that. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'll just add do this one. Throwing.
11. Okay, yeah, it goes past him and kind of skitters and drops down between 2 of the carriages.
Okay.
And a few seconds later, those 2 carriages just separate and start to slide. One of them is the one he's standing on the top of, or he's just jumped down off the top of, sorry, and he looks behind him and it's approaching him rapidly from behind, and it actually slams into him and drives him forward. He falls forward and pins Ellie to the ground. You are
Shoot.
underneath this, smells like burnt sulfur. His belly fat and his big bleeding guts are hanging all over you. He pushes himself back up and reaches behind his back and goes like that, and it comes back covered in blood. He turns to all of you and says, "I'll be back when I fix this."
You wuss. You wuss.
And he stands up and starts to back towards the trees, and you see wings start to sprout from his back.
Uh.
Miss Alice, I believe you have a joker.
Yeah. About that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me pull this thing out here.
I have a 7.
4.
You don't anymore, not after this joker.
Well, I have no way of knowing that.
Yep.
So where's he at right now?
He is right here right now, but he is
Okay.
stood up, and he is now, you see for the first time, wings sprouting out of his back.
Alice is not a fan of this. And like I said, I had 2, so I'm a
Chuck the other thing. Okay, give me a throw-in.
yeah.
Oh man, Ellie.
I am so scared right now.
Oh no.
Can you give someone your chip?
Throw-in and shit. No, you cannot, but would you like to burn a chip?
Yeah.
Burn a-
Throw in an oh shit.
I'm gonna burn my.
Your 3 options.
I got a blue one.
Okay, you get the blue one, yeah.
So what is that again?
I'm just bringing it up here. Where's the table?
I keep forgetting we can use those.
Blue. It gives you.
If I'd failed mine, I would have used one.
A blue one. You roll a bonus die and add it to your current highest total.
Okay. So what was that? That was a D12. So I do keep one.
Yep.
Right.
And we're gonna add it.
That's a 10.
That's an 8. So that's a 10 total. It drops in more or less right where the other one was, between those two carts, except those carts have moved a little bit now.
Mhm.
And when it goes off, that cart starts to come forward again. Ellie, give me a deafness check, please. Just straight deafness. You just start like hand over hand backing up because you can see this train coming at you.
Is she still on the horse? Did he take
Oh no, she's on her
I-
back. He
I
kicked
got knocked
me out
off.
from under her.
Oh,
And,
okay.
her and Jet were off the horse. The horse is bolted for narrative purposes. But yeah, she's scrambling backwards. Your one knee doesn't even work anymore. You're just scrambling backwards, scrambling backwards. You're not going fast enough. It's catching you. It's catching you. You pull your feet up, and at the last second, it towards you, and you think, "This is it. This is it. This is it." And it falls on your left leg, just below the knee. Take one wound to your left leg, and you're pinned.
Did I take any damage or wind when the dude landed
Not
on
from
me?
the first one, but you're going to take wind from this.
So my left leg, one wound.
Yep.
Which leg was the one that got hit the
My
first?
right leg.
Oh, okay.
I'm not walking anywhere.
And no, not for a couple days anyway. So luckily for you, it's just too shocking. This can't, again, the doubting Thomas in you is saving your mind from all of this. It's just like, nope, must be seeing this, must be hallucination, must have had something weird in the eggs this morning, and you only take 5 win. But you are very, very pinned under this train. And with that, with his final card, oh no, that's the end of the turn.
No.
That's the end of the turn.
He
All
does not
cards
get to
go
go
away.
again.
Yep.
Right now.
Everybody, I recall all the cards, and I shuffle all the cards, and I recall all your cards, and I shuffle all your cards. Everybody, roll me a quickness.
Oh boy.
Really? That's terrible. 5d12. Rolled that.
Are you kidding me?
Did I roll?
All right, Lucius, you get 1. Alice gets 2. Ellie gets 1, and Jet gets 1. And the Boff gets 3.
I can't
Can't
draw.
get rid of that.
Just his cards in the way.
Oh, okay. Ellie, you were getting 1 or 2?
1.
1? Okay.
Dang, I should have said 2.
It's no fun when you cheat. So,
I mean, what good am I gonna do anyways?
you can still shoot. You just can't go anywhere. You're pinned under this train. So, and this, like I said, this whole area now, the ghost rock in the coal car is burning. So there's sort of this sulfurous stench starting to spread out from that area. You know that continued exposure to large doses of the ghost rock smoke is not good. Aces. Kings.
King of Spades.
Okay. The man with the shovel against the demon lord.
Is he trying to fly away?
Yep.
Do you still got that other stick of dynamite?
No,
Hers,
I
so they're
only
both
have 2
gone.
on me.
Okay. I guess I run over and I try to attack him with my shovel.
Okay. Make an attack.
The demon with a shovel.
You leap off the horse and cover the intervening ground in
Like
a couple of steps.
screaming, like yelling at him because I just saw Ellie get hurt and Jet's really fucked up. So
Well, Jet's damn near dead too, if you care. But
I do. I said.
nobody cares about Jet. Nobody cares.
Well, I can't really see Jet.
I mean, I feel bad for Jet, but I did just get run over with a train.
Or the train, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. You were distracted.
Like, I'm a little preoccupied. This was after Satan fell on me, so.
You're kind of.
Mm.
I just realized I didn't make anybody else make fear checks, only Ellie, but never mind.
I'm not liking that. I'm gonna use a chip.
Okay. What
So
color?
I will use one of my blue chips.
Okay. So
So-
roll a 1d8. Keep one. And we'll
One.
add
So,
it to the
so
3.
how do I do this again? Sorry.
Just on the very bottom where it says keep one, those yellow boxes.
Yellow boxes. Oh, if you don't.
Underneath the names.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Yep. Keep one. Just click on that. Click 1, and then it says D8. Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! K1.
Because I can't find it, I'm gonna make you do that for me if that's all right.
1d8. Oh. So that's a 12. Added to the 3 is 13. So you smash into him with your shovel. Roll damage for me.
Okay. To combat.
Yeah. You swing the shovel with both hands. You give it your very best overhead swing, thinking to yourself, oh, I wish this were a scythe. And he catches it just below the blade. And you can see it kind of like you can see him wince, like it hurt. And then he just goes and snaps it off, drops it.
He just broke your shovel.
Oh, you.
Not burying me today.
Maybe it's immoral then.
That was kings, was it?
Yep.
Okay, queens.
Alice is queen.
Okay.
Put it out there. Shooting him.
Shooting. From horseback still. You swivel around and you let a shot go and it does hit him. Go ahead and roll some damage.
Da-da-da-da. I'm just like shaking. Whoa.
Magic fingers. Everybody do magic fingers for Alice. That is pretty
Whoa.
good magic fingers. That is very good magic fingers.
Wow.
Again,
See,
in the guts.
The last time.
From the front this time. He's been shot from the back in that same area. He's been shot from the front in that same area. And you see him reel back and he puts his hand in the front and like the thumb and one finger go into the hole. And he's just like he still doesn't look like he's anywhere near ready to go down, but he's just boggled that he's hurt.
Yeah.
And he goes to straighten up, and you see one rib goes clink and comes out through the skin. And he's like, "Oh, I don't like you people,
We don't very much like you.
Jacks." Any Jacks? I will ask for the third and final time. Any Jacks?
Oh no.
Well, guys, I'll see you in hell.
He stands before you, pulls up his bloody hand, points. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm coming for you. And then he flies away into the night, leaving a trail of black clouds and smoke and flames behind him. There's dead bodies all over town. Ellie is pinned under the train. Jet is sprawled in the middle of the street with one arm all but disconnected. The Undertaker's shovel is broken. And Lady Alice has been unladylike in public.
Hey, stop.
And that is where we will stop for this evening.
No!
Babbitt, you just come on back if you ever want to try again. We told you once, you son of a bitch. These folks the best there's ever been. Couldn't resist. Take us out, Kevin.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Oh, wow. Thank you, first and foremost, to my fellow storytellers who put up with the slow start and the individual grind, and then came together at the end to almost die as a group. Thank you so much. Once again, Noctum Sky, Hannah, Lessamax, and Sarah. You know their names in game. Those are their names in real life. You should look these people up on our website, the Mercs of Mischief website. You should check out our Twitch channel, all the information down below. These guys all do stuff on the side as well. We also got several other shows during the week. We've got our Sunday and Monday night D&D campaigns, which several of us are involved with. And yes, thank you for the reminder, chat, Mercs of Mischief chat. All of September, we're giving all of those subscription monies. All of it's going to Extra Life, so to sick kids. So I get to scare the crap out of these people. We all get to tell a great story, and sick kids benefit. How much better does it get than that? With that, thank you again to our producer. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight to watch. Without you, there's no point to doing this. And with that, shoot you next week.
One did like him, adventures and mayors and kings and queens loathed him for what he had been, a murderer of his own. Sorcerers know so few spells and cast them over and over again. Wizards laugh at their narrow list of magic which they repeat when they're fighting a monster and do the same magic over and o'er. Thus they are a constant bore for adventurers in a fight. So Morton lived lonely in a cave in a hill far from town.